Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Living on Music. I'm Steve Hauk. As always, wonderful to have you along for another unbelievable ride on Living on Music. As you can see behind me, anybody who's been in Washington, D.C. for a while has spent some of the best times in their life at this venue, the 930 Club. And I believe I've had it behind me once in the last 18 months that Living on Music has been on. But it is continues to be, even with what's happened over the last year and a half, and it has hit 930 Club hard, like it has all the venues that we all know and love so much. But they are coming back. I know the Foo Fighters just did a return show there, and it was a pretty incredible experience. I had some friends, Sam Murray and his amazing son were there, and other people. And the 930 Club continues on, and hopefully we'll be back to full operation on all levels soon. I adore the 930 Club, but another reason that I have it behind me tonight on Living on Music is because my incredible, dynamic, amazing guest, Cathy DiToro, has a close affiliation to the 930 Club. Not only has played there as a musician, but is married to Chris Campsch, one of the the manager at 930 Club, and very exciting, I'm sure, the musical hemisphere that these two live in, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But to have Cathy DiToro on, who, as some of you, most of you, anybody who knows the Legwarmers, they are one of the great tribute bands around, and they brought on my guest Cathy DiToro, I believe it was 6 years ago or so, to join their ride. They'd been around for 20 years, and they basically brought her in to be one of the front presences, and boy is she. But there's more to her than just the Legwarmers, and we'll talk about that momentarily. Real quick, would love to have you guys go to see an amazing, we're talking about tribute bands, and this is one incredible group of people. I've had two of them on my show so far. I'm going to have hopefully a third, and would I love the fourth. This is Beatles Live, presented by Newmeyer Flyer, and we're going to be promoting Newmeyer Flyer. Ron's a good buddy, and we're going to be bringing up some of his shows that are going to try to be, some coming back, some have been pushed, like the WHFS tribute show has been pushed to 2022 already, and some of the others might. We're still in this uncertain place, but outdoor shows continue to rule, and this show with Beatles Live, as I said, with Tom Lofgren, who all of you know, Tom, and of course his family and his brother Nils, who I've interviewed a couple of times and adore. Cal Everett, who is a longtime buddy of mine, who I recently had on the show. Chuck Sullivan, who is part of the Bandhouse Gigs team, the core that put those shows on, and as well as an amazing musician and drummer, and he has also been on Living on Music, and Gary Smallwood, hopefully have on very soon. I've been talking to Gary recently, and we're going to get him on within the next few weeks. They are playing at the Kensington Cul-de-sac Concerts on Saturday, October 9th. That is coming up, obviously, this coming Saturday. And it is on Thornwood Road, free outdoor show. You bring a chair, you bring a cooler, you bring your mask, and obviously tips for the band are encouraged. But these guys have played, the Strathmore, venues all over the place, as this group of guys who play such wonderful versions of the Beatles music. It is spot on, and it has the flair of Cal and Gary and Tom and the singers of these songs. So Go to the Kensington cul-de-sac this Saturday, 7:30 to 9:30. I'm going to toss a pitch out for the Greek and the Freak. If you guys don't know, that's my duo. This Sunday, October 10th, we are doing likely our final outdoor gig. It's going to get a little chilly for guitarists and people to sit around coming in November and December. So obviously that's going to affect a lot of bands because indoors is still questionable for some. But come to the Greek and the Freak, and it's our 2021 pipe stem finale. We are going to be starting about 5 o'clock on Sunday the 10th in the Pipestem in Burke. Same thing, bring a chair, a cooler, a mask, and sit and enjoy some live music, ranging from the 60s to the 80s and beyond, and really having a great time with Suzanne doing Greek and the Freak. So that is a little bit of music. Real quick, also go to the YouTube, Living on Music with Steve Haug YouTube page, please, and subscribe if you haven't yet. We'd love to get our subscriptions and our subscribers up so we can continue to grow and get some perks from YouTube, and that's when you get more subscribers. So please go on and also become a member at the Living on Music page on Facebook. We would love to have you have over 630 some odd members now, and it's rising. Please become a part of Living on Music. Well, tribute bands, as I just mentioned, the Beatles live one with those amazing guys, and they're all over the place. In fact, a lot of what Ron Newmeyer does are tributes, obviously, to artists and genres and concerts and The Last Waltz and things like that. They're a phenomenon all around the world, tribute bands. I'm quite familiar with them, being a almost 16-year cover band guy, and in tribute bands of my own. But there's some amazing ones. Led Zeppelin, Marlene and Steph have been on the show. Ragdolls, Ali Handel, the Aerosmith tribute band, has also been on the show. Goodfellas, I know those guys so well. They're amazing. Beatles cover too, and on and on and on. And I could go on. But I do tip my hat to these successful tribute bands. And in this region, there is a group called the Legwarmers. And if anybody is a fan of 80s music, that's where they go. They go see the Legwarmers, and they dance and sing and dance and sing and sing and dance with my guest as a lead singer. They just played the State Theater, distanced, but it was still crowded and people were having a blast singing. And that is Cathy DiToro, the beautiful, dynamic female lead vocalist for the Legwarmers. When she hits the stage with them, she lights it up, and she has for the past 6 years. But the Legwarmers are only one part of Cathy's musical world. Currently, she is in 3 other bands that she has either joined or formed over the last 10 some odd years. Party Like It's, which is a ska cover band, etc., that's toured Japan, did a YouTube show via the Backstreet Boys. She's also in a band called So Fetch, which she created with a member of the Legwarmers, and it's a 2000s tribute band, so music beyond 2000. And she also recently formed RoseRiot, and that is really her original songs. A lot of them, they do a different music, but a lot of songs written by Cathy, and we're going to play 2 of those tonight as we talk to her about that. She's a Long Island native, born into a very musical family, and it shows. She's created a wonderfully rich, fun, challenging, exciting musical life for herself, as well as I said earlier, being with her musically driven husband, Chris, who is the manager of the 930 Club. And she has also created a wonderfully amazing nonprofit for women in music called Project HERA. And mission is to support, promote, provide resources, opportunities for women and girls in music locally. This is one amazing lady, and I am very excited to have her on Living on Music. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Living on Music welcome to Cathy DiToro. Cathy DiToro, welcome to Living on Music, my dear. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, I've known of you and one of your bands for a little while, but boy, have I learned what an incredible ride you've had and what you're doing now. And it is wonderful to become a part of all 4 of the bands as we go along, and also your kind of evolution as a musician. Welcome, as I said again. So nice to have you. We want someday I won't have to do this, but I want to do it because I like for a minute or 2 to talk to musicians about how they've been dealing with an unprecedented time. Again, I know on my level, I've lost 10 or 11 gigs. I missed 5 concerts, couldn't do much with any of my bands on my level. You're a step above in the the dearth of your stuff. Tell me how you've dealt with the last year and a half with Chris and with yourself and everything.
Well, it's been tricky. I mean, basically, we had a packed schedule, and then on March 12th, everything just got taken away.
That's that day, everybody talks about that day. March
Right.
12th.
So, yeah. So like every other, full-time musician, it was just like, we didn't know what to do. We were floundering, and immediately I thought I better go online since, cover music is the meat and potatoes of like what I do and how I pay my bills. So
Right.
survival mode kicked in, and I did a show that like 2 days later, that's Sunday. I was like, well, if all my gigs are off the calendar, I guess I'm going online. So
you jumped in quite quickly to
right
do
away.
That wonderful
March 16th.
Right.
I was like, that was my first online. Yeah.
I saw a clip of one of your acoustic things that you did alone, and it was, you were like, I have to play, you're just like, I'm here, I'm, and that's a very common thing I've heard from my 80 plus guests, but it's great that you were able to create some stuff, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, something like this never happened before. So you don't know. The unknown was the hardest part of it, just not knowing like when we'd be able to get back to it. And still we're kind of struggling with that. And slowly a year and a half later, trying to get back to it. So it's just been a total roller coaster ride. And, some weeks were okay and some weeks were terrible, but it was never good.
No.
And it's just slowly starting to kind of get back to that point, but things are still weird for the music industry and unknown. And we're still trying to maneuver new territory. So we're kind of still in it in some ways, even though we're back to performing, we're still in this unknown kind of trying to figure out how to get through the virus.
I understand completely. I just read something about bands that are having to postpone shows now. The Rolling Stones even postponed 2 in Florida because it's
my show got postponed. Yeah, I mean, I was going to play 930 Club.
Yep.
And that got.
Right
I know. That's right.
And we'll talk about your affiliation and also your love for 930 Club. But yeah, I hear you loud and clear, and I totally understand. There are some things that people have said on my show and elsewhere that things that happened are also things that would be good anyway, even outside of a pandemic. Some of the virtual stuff, some of the reaching out, some of the engaging, although having to do it solely is what was driving people like you and me, absolutely crazy. You have 4 things going at this moment. The Legwarmers, obviously, Party Like It's, which is so fun, So Fetch, which I've just loved watching the clips. And gosh, I have a tin of clips from you that are wonderful. And RoseRiot, 2 wonderful songs of yours that we'll play a little tidge of when we go forward. One thing I'd like to show people off the bat is, the friggin' Legwarmers, man. Every time you guys play, and how the band, and they've been around since 2001, 20 years.
Right.
I've been here 26 years, so I've heard that name for so long. And the State Theater is one of my dearest and closest venues where I live, and it is always just a mob scene of people posting, I'm here, I'm at the State with So when I learned I was going to talk to you, I'm like, what a fun ride amidst all of the amazing things you're also doing. It had to be fun to jump into something and
fun.
That we're going to show in a little while when we talk a little bit more about your evolution of your music. The fans, just incredible. Here's a little clip, you guys, of the Game Room. How did the Game Room come to play on this little promo you guys recently did?
So that's backstage at the Norva, which is a really cool room in Norfolk.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty much the coolest room we play as far as the backstage goes, because they have
best green room ever, probably, right?
Yeah, they have a hot tub, they have the arcade, they have a basketball court, it's multiple levels, it's really cool. So I always like to play. I'm pretty good at ping pong. That's one of my little
very nice
hidden talents. But yeah, so I like to kind of school some of the guys at ping pong. And as we were doing that, we're like, let's do a promo video, because it has pinball and Miss Pac-Man and a lot of the 80s games. So yeah, we just whipped that together before the show.
Oh,
So.
it's a fun moment. And again, I like to kind of show where you guys are at the moment, and then what you've been doing a little bit recently before we delve into your life. But here's a little clip, you guys, of the Green Room at Norva, which is a fabulous venue in Norfolk. And this is the Legwarmers. Yeah, that is, again, there's joy in that vibe when everybody's been about as joyless as they could be for the last year. It must have been fun to kind of get back with not only that band, but everybody that you've at least been able to get back a little with.
Totally. I mean, it's the best feeling in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. And playing live as well. Another thing you did, and we will mention your husband, Chris Campsch, the 930 Club manager.
Yeah.
And you guys bonded in, I'm sure, more ways than one, hopefully, as couples. I know I did. I created the Greek and the Freak with my partner, Suzanne, and we played about 20 gigs acoustic. We're playing one in a week and a half, played the Epic here the other day in Fairfax, which was, again, out. People were masked. It was interesting, as you know, playing the State Theater, which was just wild to watch. Yet it was distanced as much as it could be. You and Chris played some things. You did some things acoustic to keep yourself busy singing, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we did a little show together and just some comedy and funny videos just to pass the time and stay creative. I use the term funny, loosely, wacky, zany. I mean,
Oh no, was that whose father was in the video?
That's Chris, his dad, the floating head.
The floating head. Oh,
yeah,
well,
we had some green suit fun.
It is really fun. And what's fun, Cathy, honestly, is to show people that you guys were capable of laughing and having fun while you were, cloistered in your
losing
world.
our minds.
This is great.
Right.
Sugar Highway, right? Where did that come from?
We were just having fun one night at our old apartment, and I was just like, sugar high. I was eating nerds or candy, and I just had this little backing track going, and I started playing keyboards, and I was just like, sugar, sugar, sugar high. And then we thought Sugar Highway would be a fun name because it's like along the road of our zany antics. So
it's this, you guys. This is wonderful. Again, shows the joy that was dug up by some wonderful people like Cathy and Chris. This is a little bit of their journey over the last year on the Sugar Highway.
We are on Sugar Highway, everybody. Welcome to our show. We are taking your musical requests. Awesome songs you love are the best songs. Awesome songs you love are great. It's awesome. Twerk, get it, dad. Don't show your back, because they can see your back when you do that.
Oh, damn.
Man, I wish you guys could see what I can see right now. Floating head with the spiky hair. It's Chris's dad, and he doesn't care. He lets us dress him up. He lets us do his hair. He lets us put him in a green suit. It's so cool. It's so fun. Go, Don. Oh, no. Now there's two. Oh, this is my life now. What am I going to do? For real. Send help of the estrogen kind. I can't take it. This is too much. The two of them bouncing around. I can't take it.
He's moving his head by himself.
I used to know you when we were young. You were in all my dreams. We sat together in period 1, Fridays at 8:15. Now I see your face in the strangest places.
Oh God. The fact that it's his father too, where a lot of people, I mean, my dad
Right.
passed about 16 years ago anyway, but mom and dad, but to be able to have his dad be there and interact with him had to be a lot of fun, right?
It was it was definitely a bonding moment
Um,
in more ways than one. It was very special.
well, people saw him there. It's just his head bouncing around. I mean, I don't know
The
where his body
neighbors think
was.
we're insane. Yeah, the neighbor. I mean, it's official.
But you've got Pico behind you, your amazing, beautiful black Chihuahua, and I've got 930 Club green screens work when you want them
Yes.
to. So they're a lot of
Yes.
fun. You have Jorge, full name, Jorge, it's,
Pesamenti.
that's right, it's Jorge Pesamente when I was looking up the.
So he is the founder of the Legwarmer, one of the founders, and he and I started playing acoustic together
Yeah.
when I joined the Legwarmers, just to, fill in our schedule and stuff
Sure.
like that. And and then we started So Fetch together. So
That's great. Well, it shows that's what's another thing about that I now love more even about this clip, because it shows you out there playing, a little chilly, under a
Yeah.
tent. So not uncommon, but you guys, you had to do what you got to do. And that's why I've loved doing this show since April.
yeah,
of
and I
last
mean,
year.
I'll play anywhere, I mean, I'm a full-time musician, so it's a
Yes.
hustle. And, I enjoy playing. I like all the different iterations. I like doing acoustic sometimes. It's fun to play for thousands, of course, but
Yes,
it's also nice to do the strip down thing and connect with people,
totally.
in a crowd of 10 and
Oh.
really get to know people. And that's part of what I really like too. So
I agree with you on my level. I'm in a couple of acoustic duos now, and then I've got a couple of big bands. One plays at JV's on November 19th. That's going to be the first big inside gig for one of my bands. I'm like, ooh, here we go. We just
nice,
played their last Saturday night, and it was fun, acoustic duo. But I hear you about needing the varying. This is a wonderful clip of just a taste of Cathy DiToro during the last year and a half before we delve into her world of life, with Jorge and a little acoustic music.
There's times when I want something more, someone more like me. There's times when this dress rehearsal seems incomplete, but you see the colors in me like no one else. And behind your dark glasses, you're something else. Truly lovely underneath it all. Do you want to love me underneath it all? I'm really lucky underneath it all. Truly lovely.
Yes, my dear. We're going to show some big time dynamic Cathy DiToro with the bands that you play with. But boy, you have a beautiful voice. That's the bottom
thank
line.
you.
And
Thanks.
born in Islip, and what I love about it, and it's Long Island, and I'm again from about 45 minutes from probably where you were born. I just love Long Island for so many reasons: sports, music, beach, people. You had I ask most of my guests this, where the music came from. Talk about a musical parenting. Tell me a little bit about how you first got into music and why, because your two parents were music people.
Yeah, they were music majors. They met in choir in college, and they
Wow.
both majored in music. Yeah. So I was born into it, and I took right to it. So I basically popped out singing. I mean, I knew all the songs on the radio by like 4, and my mom
Oh.
started teaching me piano at 3, and I was able to harmonize, and it was just in my blood. It's something that has always been like my earliest memories is singing and dancing, and we would sing as a family, and all of us can sing and play various instruments. So it really is just like woven throughout my DNA. My grandfather was a musician in
Oh.
Manhattan. Yeah, he would play on the weekends in the city and stuff. So music teacher. So yeah, I come from a line of it, which is cool.
Well, it makes sense because the variation you have in your musical career right now is so wonderful, from acoustic to Legwarmers to I mean,
I guess you're right. Yeah, it is pretty versatile.
I love it, and I love one of the, and I always love the quotes from notes that I get from people like you, and in this kind of context, saying I was lucky to have a classical background because pop music was limited due to rock and roll being too close to the devil.
Yeah.
Is that literal?
That is actually literal.
Was there a religious, a Catholic feeling? Were you guys Catholic?
Yes. I am no longer. I broke free, thankfully.
You abdicated.
I'm just recovering now. Yeah. Right. But yeah, it was heavy-handed, man. And so, you know, the choices were limited. Siblings were getting in trouble for Guns N' Roses CDs, and you know, rock and roll was very much painted as a sinful, bad, unacceptable, you know, type thing to get into. But I was the fourth of five. So by the time my parents got down to me, they had softened up a little bit, and I was able to kind of, you know, listen to kind of what I wanted, but with a grain of salt. But I very much grew up in a classical music family. Like you know, the Beatles were allowed here and there, and James Taylor type, you know, folky, John Denver-y type stuff, but lots of classical music.
Well, that's wonderful, because it kind of rounds you out, you know, and you would eventually, you said you loved singing and memorized music. And it's funny, you know, with the chunk of tribute stuff you do where you're playing cover songs, you have them embedded in your head, I would think.
Yeah.
And it started back then when you were a little girl.
It did. I was one of those people that could listen to the radio and kind of feel familiar with it. And so even like, it's funny, the full circle, like I was born in 85. So a lot of my memories on Long Island are of REO Speedwagon, Bon Jovi. It's all the stuff that was on the radio at the time. And now, I mean, I can pull on those songs from being a kid. And when I joined Legwarmers, people are like, oh, you're too young to know the songs, but I connected with music so naturally. And then I had older siblings, and I was the little toddler kid that just knew all the songs, and people were like, whoa, but also it is what it is. It was what it was. So
I love that. And ironically, that's kind of why I started singing 15 years ago, because I have it embedded in my head, and it's all 70s songs that I heard on the radio, FM radio in the 70s. And I somehow can recreate it pretty well. It's funny, we're launching our band, I just told you about a little earlier, and the first song we're going to try to open with, and we haven't played it yet, is Roll With the Changes by REO Speedwagon.
Oh, that's funny.
We haven't, and I'm like, let's do it. It just fits the mood of the moment.
Oh, someone just wanted to make his little cameo.
Oh, wow. It is Pico.
He knocked on the door, so I had to let him in.
Oh, Pico.
Say hi, buddy. There you are.
Pico.
Double Pico. It's like double rainbow.
Hi, Pico. Oh, and he kissed you to boot.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
Such a good little boy.
It's like a Pico.
Anyway.
It's the Pico show. I mean, for God's sake.
Yeah, he's way more interesting than I am.
No, I wouldn't say that. So you not only were, you know, kind of singing out and even memorizing lyrics, you started playing piano, choir. You started getting into the early rock band world as high school came in and college started and stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty natural progression. Yeah, piano lessons into the band thing, and then took a little break in college, did some a cappella stuff. But when I got back to the Northern Virginia, DC area after college is when I started looking for bands to join locally. Right.
And what I did love is that your first show in high school was a battle of the bands, and you were fronting, and then it seemed to be the way it's gone for the next 17 years. You know, you really love the fronting part of it. I hear you
do.
There. That's fabulous. You had a band called Liquid A befriend you. And that seemed to be one of the moments going along.
It was, because they were at Clarendon Grill, which is no longer around, but that was one of the spots where cover bands would play in Arlington every weekend. And so I go out with my friends and just kind of hang out and see what's up. Well, I got on stage and sang Sweet Child of Mine with them, and they were like, afterwards, they're like, you know, you can do this for a living. Like, we do this for a living. And I was like, what do you mean? You sing other people's songs and you get paid? Like, I didn't understand it. Like, that you could actually make, you know, do it on the side or whatever. Yeah. And so I went on Craigslist And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to start figuring this out. And I found a band that, I mean, we were still working full time. I mean, it took years for me to get to that level, but
Wow.
that's when it started. Yeah, it was like in that was like 2009
2009
or
or so.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
That's wonderful. That seemed to be a kind of pivotal moment for
It
you.
definitely was a turning point. Yeah,
Yeah.
I reference that on the regular when people ask me, because I really did not know there was any sort of money in something like that. And it's so fun. And it's something I naturally feel so much like connection to. I'm just like, well, this is, why can't I? Yeah, I'm
Wow.
going to do this.
Yeah, fabulous. And around that time in your mid-20s, as you started feeling the band world, you became a booking agent. You started booking bands, and that has become something that has continued to go along as you've become more of the musician that you were developing into. You've also continued to book because you're around music, it would seem.
Totally. Like that was more of a natural. People would just come to me and say like, hey, if you can't do the show, do you have someone else that can? And I hosted this ladies' night of music every week at Tortoise and Hare in Crystal City, which also isn't there anymore. And
Right.
I did that for about 4 years, and I developed this roster of really talented female musicians in the DC area. So through that, I just got to make so many different connections with their bandmates, them, and just all sorts of people. And so I naturally just started referring
Yeah.
musicians as needed, and it developed into, so yeah, people will come to me from time to time and ask, and I'll happily recommend all sorts of bands.
That's great. That's great to have. Do you book any of the current bands that you're in? You book them all.
I do, other than Legwarmers.
Right.
So I book them all.
Lucky,
I
lucky them.
run them all, and I book them all.
They can trust their band member to be a booker. You know, they don't have to worry about anything. That's pretty
And
great.
it's been a hustle, man. I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, from the accounting, I mean, I run the whole thing from the
Wow.
LLC to accounting to booking to marketing to
Look at you.
yeah, it's a lot, but
Well, jack of all trades, master of all trades. It sounds like.
well, master of some, perhaps.
All right.
Definitely jack of all.
A few, jack of all, Jacqueline of all.
There we go.
So around that time where you were beginning some of this kind of inherent booking stuff that you were doing, you became a guidance counselor at West Springfield High School, which I know well, having lived in Annandale for a long time, and having kids that were going to high schools around there. How would that develop? That is a wonderful thing to probably have done for a little while, right?
Yeah. So, I had some personal things happen and made me realize I kind of wanted a career where I could help people more directly. Like I always knew music was going to be a part of it. My undergrad degree is just in communications and marketing. And I was like, I want to do more, like make a difference. And so yeah, I went back to grad school at George Mason and got a master's in education and school counseling. And,
wow, good for you.
I had all good intentions, but unfortunately, when I got to the job, it was a lot of paperwork, and I wasn't really getting to spend time with the kids. And it was really tough to balance playing shows at night and getting up at 6 a.m. and having to be on and being responsible for 300 kids who are going through all these issues, not having the resources I need. Like, the job was insane, to be honest with you. Like they expect way too much from their individual people. And, frankly, it's a lot of pushing paper and administrative stuff that I didn't go to school. I went to sit with people one-on-one and try to make an actual difference on a daily basis. So it really was frustrating to have the death of a dream a little and feel disillusioned.
I bet.
And it really was a struggle to leave that job, because I did leave mid-year, and I never looked back. I had peace with the decision. I wrestled with it for a long time, but it was tough for me to set boundaries with the kids. They're going through so much, and I'm a super empath, and the job was devouring me, like psychologically, emotionally. It was just too much.
It had to. I mean,
it was too much.
Right. Often guidance counselors are looked at as the bridge to the next part of this world, and sometimes that doesn't fit. And what an amazing run that is. Well, that shows something. Something about you, Cathy. So you left at a certain point, but it sounds like you are the empath. I love that word. I don't know if I've heard that noun. That's great.
It's a good one, and it's one that I think is getting used more frequently, especially since last summer and everything that's been going on socially, and just with COVID and just the social justice issues that have been talked about more recently. Yeah, like empaths having empathy, I mean, in my opinion, is one of the most
Yes.
it's one of the best qualities you can have, because it really humbles you, you know.
Totally agree, and it's a perfect thing to bring up during this show and this time, especially. It was right about then that I think it seems like that the music began to take control, and in a great way. And I'm sure, you know, again, music lives are up and downs, especially the last last year and a half. But again, 2013, you were recruited. We're gonna go down the band line right now, and this is a great run. I love this. You were recruited to join Party Like It's. They had just started. You said that you jumped in. How did the ska part come to you? You just felt comfortable. You'd sung it before. You knew ska.
Yeah, I mean, No Doubt is my third wave ska. No Doubt is like my favorite band, one of my favorite bands.
Great.
So third wave ska is mid-90s ska, and that's exactly the type of band this was. One of my friends who was in it was like, oh, you should get Cathy, because she's into this kind of stuff. So it was a totally natural fit. Like, I was all about it. We have a horn section. Like, I was all about it. And it was great. You know, all of us just shared like a love for that fun energy and type of music. And, you know, it's a little nerdy, and it's like definitely like niche and a small scene, but we were into it. And we, you know, just started with this idea of doing ska versions of pop songs or 80s songs or whatever stuff that we liked.
Yes.
And making videos and doing all that. So that worked out well.
Oh, you had a great run, it seems. It was like, you know, and continuing to do this band. You toured Japan. Yeah. I mean, really? Yeah. That is fabulous.
I know. Life goal achieved, achievement unlocked.
Bucket list checked.
Oh my God. Yeah. I can't wait to go back. So cool.
Well, I know that there's certainly an impression that the music fans in Japan are just raving. They love it so much, right?
Yeah, we were received really well. They love ska music, and they love American music. Like American bands, they don't have to know who you are. They love music. They're interested. They'll buy the merch. They'll come to the show. They don't need to know every song. They don't, you know, it's really cool. They're really into music there.
That's great. There's been a history of that over my life, seeing it. I mean, like you see you see British bands back then going over there. You see Cheap Trick, you know, they're live.
Right.
The Budokan was one of the great live albums ever, and they're just screaming. It's like every song's like a Beatles on Ed Sullivan. It was it's wonderful. Well, they love music. Yeah. You also played. I love you played the NHL Winter Classic. What stadium was that?
Yeah, so we got asked to do that twice. So at first it was outside of Nats Park.
Yes.
Nats Stadium.
Yeah.
In DC, and then the other time we did it was at what's the stadium where they have the Army Navy game? Not Annapolis. Where was it? It was in.
It's not FedEx Field. It's the one out.
No.
In Annapolis?
Yeah, I think, well, near Annapolis. Right. I honestly don't remember, but it was a big stadium. What year was it? 2018.
Right.
Or 19, it might have been.
That had to be fun.
It's super fun. They give us the jerseys. I mean, it's very cold. It's freezing. I remember us all like freezing our asses off, like into an insane level. Because one of them was on New Year's Day. And we had just played the big night DC at the Gaylord Hotel the night before. So we didn't sleep at all. We had to load in at 6 a.m. to Nats Park. It was crazy.
Wow.
That was insane.
Well, you know, yeah, one of those kind of crazy but wonderful experiences probably deep down. You also had a wonderful exchange with Backstreet Boys on a YouTube level. Give us a little background on how that happened, and then we're going to show this video that has an impact on that whole thing.
Yeah, so we got recruited. I got a call from a YouTube a producer for a YouTube show out of the blue. I thought it was fake, and I didn't call her back. She called like 3 more times, and she's like, "I think you think this is fake. Just call me back." And I was like, "You're right." I connected with her, and long story short, she had to submit for this TV show called Best Cover Ever, and we had to do our own version of a Backstreet Boys song. Well, we ended up getting selected because of this video that you're going to show. We whipped it up in a week. So like we had a week's time to do our own arrangement, record it, and do a music video. So
wow.
Yeah, we pulled it off, and then they ended up flying us out to LA, and we got to play with the Backstreet Boys, and it was really cool.
That's
yeah, we won. So it was cool.
That's fantastic. And this is a lot of fun. You see that there's who were the attendees to this party that you shot it at?
Just our friends.
I can tell.
We have a bunch of videos where we like to have fun, and we like
Yes.
other people to have fun. So we
Oh,
invite
yeah.
whoever is available to come and either pretend to have fun or have actual fun. And so this video is one of those examples of just like everyone's friends, cousins, sisters, aunt, whoever, the dogs, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
everyone's welcome.
You know what's a rampant presence in this video? The red cups.
Yeah, I know, right? We're working on our sponsorship.
Yeah, no, I love that because it's so indicative of
It's the party,
fun.
you know. Yeah,
totally.
The party.
Well, here's a little bit of kind of an instrumental video in the history of Party Like It's. This is a little bit of As Long As You Love Me. Yeah, I should have grabbed my red cup, although I'll grab my Living on Music mason jar, which I'm going to send
look at
to
that.
Cathy
I love
DiToro, so you could be a little part
Oh.
of Living on Music. We just got these, so you're the first guest that I've actually offered a Living on Music glass
I'm
to.
honored. I love a good glass.
Well,
I do.
I didn't know that the mason jar is kind of different instead of just being a
I
coffee
love
mug.
it.
Yeah, it's
I
kind of
love
fun.
the mason jar. It's
So
great.
It's coming your way, and it'll make.
Oh, have fun.
Yeah, I'll send it before Christmas.
I'll have many Tito's and sodas in that.
Yay! I love that.
I'll send it before Christmas.
I know. I'll make it so it's not
Love
a Christmas thing.
Love it. That's
this
so
band
funny.
this band has a great sound. Talk a little bit about. We're going to play just a little couple of little snippets of a couple of songs from Party Like It's. Take Care, and then there's Clockwork Lover. Those seem to be two of the songs that are really powerful for you guys.
Yeah, so Clockwork Lover was written by my bandmate. It's just kind of like a fun, cheeky, poppy with horns kind of song. And then I wrote Take Care with another friend of mine as just kind of like a high energy rockin', like the way, I don't know, the way I would describe Party Like It's like we're not really the ska band we were anymore. It's more of like a high energy rock band, maybe with horns kind of, or I mean, but mostly it's just fun, it's just like when you come to a show, it's like we want you to feel the energy and enjoy the songs and just want to like dance and have a good time. And we just really enjoy playing together, and
you can tell
it's a great band. So
yeah, there's a chemistry, and I can tell that it's been going 8 years now, and something's got to be working. But
and we've got new music coming too, which is exciting.
Ooh.
Like we have a whole EP that's coming finally.
Good to know.
All new songs.
Let's plug that at the end too, and we talk about what's coming up with all these friggin' bands you have. It's just phenomenal. I love this. Here's a little bit, you guys, of a snippet of the song that Cathy was just talking about, called Take Care. Yeah, you could show you see the talents that's there. Sure, you guys were doing ska covers of pop songs. You were doing ska songs. You're still doing your own stuff too. That's written by people in the band. This is another clip, you guys, of what Cathy was talking about. Another Party Like It's song, and we're going to take you down the road of the video a little bit, and then a little bit of live from the Supernova Ska Festival in Fredericksburg around 2017 with a little Clockwork Lover. Yeah, Clockwork Lover. That's a wonderful song, and I love seeing some of you up on stage, which is again obviously one of your huge strengths that you even began when you were a little girl, as we talked about. Seems like it's been going strong. Speaking of great moves, again in 2015, you got a call. Now, how did you just get a call to join a band that had been around for 20 years, sells out every time you play? We're going to show a montage of fan shots that just show people beloved this stuff. And how did you begin your Legwarmers run?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So it really did start as just a call. I remember exactly where I was driving, and Jorge, the one I mentioned earlier,
yeah,
he knew of me from my bandmate in Party Like It's, because there's a Pie Tasters connection. So the Pie Tasters are like a DC based ska band.
They're
very,
amazing.
very, very popular. Yes. So Jorge has written albums with them, toured with them, played with them.
Wow.
And one of the guys in Party Like It's at the time was a bass player. So Jorge contacted him and was like, "You have a girl in your band. We need a sub." Because their singer at the time was pregnant with her third baby. So he just called me and was like, "Hey, it's, and I was like, I know the Legwarmers. I'd seen them once years ago and thought, okay, this is cool, but obviously I saw how everyone else was like freaking out.
Right.
So I'm like, this is like a big deal for someone like me in the area, they're like the biggest cover band. So, yeah, so I subbed with them that summer in 2015. It was crazy. And
you were really excited though, right?
Oh,
yeah,
I was totally,
like
I was freaking out. Yeah. I mean, and we had just come back from Japan. Like that was a very exciting time for me, because it was like, I was about to join the biggest band in the area,
right,
even though it was just as a sub, whatever.
Right.
And then we were in Japan, and then the summer kicked off, and I'm like traveling to all these venues and playing for thousands of sold out crowd. I mean, it was crazy.
And there was no issue, Cathy, between you and Party Like It's. They were fine with you jumping in.
I kind of always try to keep things cool with everybody and just like keep it real,
I
as far
tell.
as like, this was a huge opportunity for me. And if it were someone else, I would want them to take it. So like, whether there was some sort of like disappointment or like, oh, bummer, it's like taking her away a little bit from the band, they all handled it pretty well. And I mean, they would come to the shows and very supportive, because they knew what a big opportunity this was for me. I mean, like also financially, like this is like life-changing. I'm able to like, make real money and play for all these people. It's the dream.
Right.
It's what I've been wanting to do. So,
and you're right. And you're Roxanne Roxanne
Roxy
Rio.
Rio,
Where
yes.
did that begin?
The guys kind of named me. Like they kind of have control on that. I let them do their thing. Like I run Party Like It's, I run So Fetch. When it comes to Legwarmers, I show up, I do my thing, but I don't really, I kind of let them lead, and then
Right. And that's good because it gives you a little bit of a break on control.
it does.
Yeah.
And it does. And it totally, it gives me a break. And it's also like kind of fun to just go along with it, and so they were like coming up with different names. And I always like the song Rio by Duran Duran. Me and my little sister like used to have an inside joke
I love
about
that too.
Yeah. So I think now that you say it, I'm thinking about it. It kind of did all go back to that. And they're like, well, Roxy Rio sounds cool. And I was like, okay, that does sound cool.
Oh, her name is Rio. And
right.
Dances on the sand. Yeah, that was a big part of that era. That is wonderful. Well, it shows shows a camaraderie began again with this band. And was it all founders that you joined, or were there a mix of different?
Just about. I'd say half and half. Like some of the guys had joined mid 2000s, but most of the band were original members. Yeah.
Oh, so you went from you joined as a sub, and then when did it become permanent? Like when did it say, oh my God, this is not going to end?
So that fall of 2015, they were just like, we've had some stuff kind of moving around and schedule and some conflicts and stuff. So we'd like you full time. And I was like,
did you,
okay.
Was there any thought of having you and the previous singer, if she was coming back, there'd be two leads, or they just wanted one?
I don't think
female lead? Yeah.
Yeah. I think they had realized, but they started with two girls.
Right. That's what I thought I saw. Right.
Yeah. But then I think they had gone so many years with one female singer that they just kind of got comfortable and used to that, and they're like, you know what, we just need one female. So
what an opportunity for you. I mean, that had to be like, thank you, music gods. You've bestowed, and it's clear they did it for a reason, because of your talent and your and your presence, because that band clearly needs somebody at the helm, as well as the guys, to be a character and a presence and a
they do.
Yeah. And and I've watched more Legwarmers videos in the last 3 weeks than I think I had seen in a long time, and I love seeing it. We're gonna show everybody else, the Legwarmers fans that you're here, this stuff, them, but I want to show some of the feel of these guys. This is a quick little promo first from 2016 New Year's Eve at the State Theater. It shows you guys just being yourselves, real brief. Here's a little bit of New Year's Eve with the Legwarmers. Yeah, that shows the personalities, that are in the band. Has the band stayed the same since you joined from 6 years?
Just about, yeah. We have a new, recent new member as of post-COVID. So
okay,
he's phenomenal. Yeah. So yeah, but other than that, we're still going strong, and just the 80s haven't died yet. And if it's up to us, they're never going to. So.
No. And again, I've heard your names. This band's name come up so often. In fact, a lot of the people that come to our little humble cover band that plays in Northern Virginia and DC and stuff, they post all the time when they go to see you. And so I obviously tagged them all for this show, because I want them to know that you're here with me. In fact, here's a little taste of Roxy Rio at her this is some great stuff. A little bit of a swath of some songs ranging from Tony Basil to Madonna to the Go-Go's, even a little Katrina and the Waves. Here's a little bit of Cathy DiToro in her role with the Legwarmers. Whew. I mean, you got a thing going there, lady. And I think it's something that not only is fun as hell and just wild and characterish, but your talents show. And it's amazing to be able
Thank
to
you.
be doing
It's
that.
so fun.
And
So fun.
I love that, like 30 years prior to that, you're already memorizing music. And now it totally makes complete sense that you're doing that with them. One other little part I wanted to show of the Legwarmers before we move on to the next Cathy band, which is another great one. This is a montage of some of the fans that you guys bring into places that range from the Jefferson to the Trocadero to the State Theater, all over the place. In fact, you went to Costa Rica recently. Was this with the Legwarmers?
No, that was just during COVID, just to kind of escape the cold and the madness. Yeah, we had an opportunity to get down there, had some friends
yay.
down there. Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
And without our jobs and just to live cheaper. And yeah, it was definitely a blessing that we could escape
great.
the
Okay.
cold. Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, here
Yeah.
again is a look at and you must still, even though you've been singing in front of a lot of people for a while, the crowds that you guys get with the Legwarmers and most of the other bands you play with actually, but the Legwarmers it went from mob scene, wonderful, huge crowds together singing on top of each other to nothing. And now getting those crowds back in and you're already
Right.
feeling it. But how about the fans that follow you guys?
They're wild, man. They are
I know.
wild. They're ruthless. They're wild. I mean, I've gotten a whole education on nostalgia and the power of it through being in the Legwarmers. I mean,
God.
people they lose their minds.
They do.
And and everyone, when I say, oh yeah, I'm in the Legwarmers, 9.8 out of 10 times the response is, I got so drunk at that show. Like everyone knows it because of how much they drank and sang every word, the whole, the typical getting
Totally.
lost in the music,
Yeah.
getting back to my, the good old years. So there is something to that because people really are chasing that feeling,
They
me
are.
included, me included. I get it.
Completely. The
Yeah.
reminiscing that people do. I mean, I've been singing in a number of cover bands. We're rebooting our Stones band that's going to hopefully get back together in the
Fun.
spring. And that was an amazing run. So I hear you on the fact that there is a nostalgia. And when I sing in these bands and look out there, I'm like, when people sing along, we just played JVs and people were singing along to a
It's
couple
the best.
and they were from the band that was going to be playing the main set. And the fact that you can move people, and you do move people, you move them wildly around like this. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a montage of Legwarmers of some fans that have been at gigs. They're singing along to every friggin' song that is here. In fact, the first clip I think was before Cathy joined back. It was back in 2012. But this group of women standing around. I did not put this together to show people drunk, but they're having a good time as big fans of the Legwarmers. Whew, I'm like, I just felt I was at a Legwarmer show. That I mean, again, to have that kind of wealth of a crowd so into what you're doing must still be very, very exciting for you.
It's intoxicating. Yeah, I mean, it's addicting. It's really fun.
It is.
It's just, there's really there's so many words, but there's also, simply put, it's just It's pure fun. It's
It
pure
is.
fun.
I love it, and you fit it so wonderfully.
Oh, thanks.
But the Legwarmers, you know, may have a long reputation, but they certainly aren't the only thing you're doing. As we've already gone through, Party Like It's, the Can't Evens. We'll jump into something that you seem to be really proud of that you're doing, which is with Jorge, your Legwarmers bandmate. Started it in 2017. It is called So Fetch.
Yes.
You know, and that must have been why did you guys decide, hey, let's jump out for a while and do you know, in addition to the Legwarmers and everything else, So Fetch?
Well, because we saw a market for it. And those are the songs that I really love because I was in high school and college, and we realized that like we can cover a wealth of, because I can rap, like from all the different voices that we can cover together. We just started to think like this could be really fun. And you know, the 80s hits, the 90s hits, the 2000s are going to hit. Yeah. So we were kind of like, let's get ahead of the curve and let's start the band. So
I love it's from Avril to Outkast, from Blink to Beyonce, Kanye to Keisha, to that song you liked from the OC. I was vice president at Fox 5 during the OC release, and that show was a big deal to me. I'm like, huge. Music from the OC. That had to be just, you know, another wonderful experience. What is it about So Fetch that's kind of maybe different from the other bands you're currently with?
It's well, aside from the fact that the set list is all 2000 to 2010. It's, I would say each of us are showcased. Like I probably sing a majority of the songs, whereas as in Legwarmers, I'm just one of like 4 main singers across the front.
Right.
So Fetch is kind of more focused on me as the lead, but also all 5 band members sing. So it's really cool because each of us have, you know, the set list is separated enough where we each get a variety, and people who come to the show really like that. They're like, it's so cool because like the bandmates will switch instruments. Like I'll play keys, bass player will play guitar, and guitar player will play bass. We all kind of like do a dance, and it's a real show. We dress up just like Legwarmers.
I love it.
And yeah, it's fun. It's like a whole show, you know, it's not just a band playing song after song, you know.
And you're Amber Crombie.
That's right. We have our fake names.
That must have come across because Amber Crombie, the fashion part was big in the 2000s. Was that why you're Amber Crombie?
Yep. It's a play on that. Yeah.
Oh, that is fabulous. Well, before we get to a couple of clips of this wonderful band playing, did you guys ever wonder how they got the name So Fetch?
Oh, Katie's blushing. Oh my God, you totally have a crush on that guy.
No, I don't.
That's why you wanted to join the mathletes.
Mathletes? You hate math.
Look how red she is. You love him, and he totally complimented you. That is so fetch.
Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
2004, Mean Girls. Who chose So Fetch? Was that you?
Well, it was a combo. We had a spreadsheet going of all the Y2K, iPod, like all the cliches and all the like. Yep. And then
Y2K. That would have been
right. I know. We had a couple good ones. Like,
but you chose So Fetch.
Yeah, because So Fetch is like a movement. You know, that movie was so huge. I mean, that movie, and then just how funny that phrase is. It's kind of like enough of an Inception situation where it's like a phrase within a movie that is just kind of hidden in the movie, but not really. So it's like, if you know, you know.
Right.
And if you don't know, it's kind of fun to explain, and it all makes sense. And then we use a lot of the images and imagery and our play on imagery from the movie for marketing. So it's really fun from a marketing perspective, for sure.
I bet it fits the fun nature of the band. I had seen Mean Girls years ago. I mean, it's came out in 2004 and I had to see it, but I wasn't completely aware that was why. So to see the clip, it was perfect. I hope people got a sense of that. We're going to show a real sense of So Fetch. There's a wonderful promo reel that you guys put together that kind of shows the exuberance and the excitement. And then some of you guys live, because again, as you well know, as we all know, anybody who loves music is a musician or a music writer or a fan. But live music is what it is all about. And that is why the last year and a half has been crippling for so many of us and of you who are much more, you're immersed in a career in music. You know, again, to be able to play live, you guys really have a great live presence, don't you?
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say that's kind of what we pride ourselves on, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, we take it seriously. We try to do a really good job. I think that's another thing that sets us apart. Like, we learn the songs exactly how they are, and we try to recreate them to where you would hear them on the radio and bring that with the live energy. That's kind of what everybody wants. So it works
Yeah,
out.
it does work out. And everybody's gonna get a sense right now of what Cathy and this band does, from their promo kind of stuff to some live music. Here's a little swath of So Fetch.
So I'm gonna fight, gonna give it my all, gonna make you fall, gonna get to you. That's right, put your pom-poms down, getting there. Come on, y'all, sing it out, sing it out. A few times I've been around that chest, so it's not just gonna happen like that, 'cause I ain't no holler back girl. I ain't no holler back girl. A few times I've been around that chest, so it's not just gonna happen like that, 'cause I ain't no holler back girl.
Wow, that is So Fetch. I mean, how fun
Right?
that is, Cathy. What a great experience to have. God, so it's So Fetch.
Well, and if you want to catch us, my next live band show is with So Fetch on October 8th at State Theater. So
Oh,
that is
how
the next time you can
fun.
catch me live with any of these bands.
Yes, and we will be giving everybody a kind of a rundown of all your bands at the end too. But God, that is good to know that, and you're back at that legendary venue, the State Theater.
That's right.
Last show that I saw before the pandemic was at the State
Oh,
Theater with
nice.
Les Zeppelin, and
Oh, wow.
ended up interviewing Steph Paynes, the guitarist, and became friends with Marlene and interviewed her. They're an amazing band too.
They're
And
amazing.
the State is the State. Before we get to the wonderful thing that you formed, that shows a real side of your musical talent that is apart from the tribute cover genre, and it is your music as RoseRiot. You started a nonprofit in 2017, so I don't even have to go any further, but I'm going to. Congratulations, because anybody who does that,
Thanks.
there's a reason. It's because you're an empath and you're a sweetheart, and you did it. Called Project HERA, and it was a mission to support, promote, I'll read it, provide resources and opportunities for women and girls in music locally. You have done a wonderful thing by doing that. It's about 4 years ago. I'm sure it got stifled over the last year and a half, but you did something at
Exactly.
Clarendon's, which I've played at numerous times. I love the place. You know it well. You guys did a festival. What was your motivation, Cathy, other than your obviously huge heart, to do Project HERA?
So it formed from me hosting that ladies' night every week back to the tortoise and hare thing. And I was like, there's all these talented women in the area.
Wow.
And festivals are always overshadowed by male musicians. I mean, that's no secret that every bill, every festival, everything is just majority are men.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can we do something in at least the local level to just bring like these women together all in one room on the same day to support each other and also to showcase their talent. So that's where Hera got born. It just started as an idea to do a festival once a year. And then from there kind of grew into workshops and open mic night for all ages. So like, younger girls can come and perform and get used to, like, when I was little, there wasn't anywhere really to perform. There wasn't a festival I could play at. There wasn't, an open mic I was allowed to get into that I knew of. So I thought, this would be really cool. There's obviously a need for that. So we did 4 music festivals in 3.5 years, and a bunch of open mics, a bunch of, raised a bunch of money for a local organization of underprivileged girls. And yeah, it was really great. And then, COVID kind of took the wind out of our sails. We had a grant, we got this awesome grant for a festival, and we were right in the process of booking when COVID hit. So, when that threw my personal life into turmoil, it's hard to focus outside of yourself when you can't even, get your own shit together. So slowly but surely, the goal is to get that back going, at least at the festival level, like at least do our festival, because we've made so many great connections. It's such a positive thing. It's just a shit ton of work. It is so much work. So once I kind of level out with my bands again, and we get through some of the rocky road that we're still on of COVID, I know it's coming. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and Project Hera is still going to emerge stronger than ever in the DC area.
I'm sure. I bet it will, because that I love the mission behind it as well. It's when you do the festivals, it's certainly not just the festival, although they're fabulous. It's a movement.
Right.
To create.
That's exactly right.
Connections, support underrepresented people. And that is wonderful. I'm along for the ride. I'll promote Project Hera on this show and beyond.
Thanks, Steve.
I MC a lot of events too. And if you ever need somebody to kind of come in and have fun,
awesome,
and not have to worry about that part, it's a lot of fun. But let's keep Project Hera in our place. Before we get to RoseRiot too, you were one of 5 siblings. Is that what you said? And you've lost 2 of your siblings, one young and one old. It's something that, again, I don't want to dwell on it, but it's something that I'm sure has affected your life. Did it affect your self and music and everything?
Right, of course. Yeah, I mean, part of why I went to get my counseling degree was to try to work through some of my brother's death, and then part of me naming RoseRiot, my younger sister was named Rose. So RoseRiot is kind of a homage to her. And so I've certainly worked through a lot of that trauma through my music. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky I have that, frankly, because, it's pretty bleak and traumatic. And so to be able to channel all sorts of things into the music has certainly been like a literal lifesaver and very therapeutic. And that's another reason why Project Hera made so much sense, because to be able to combine my counseling degree with kind of the trauma and the therapy that music has brought me, like in my young life, but more so in my adult life too, it's crucial. It's crucial. Like it's a crucial piece that can really provide an outlet, I think, for so many people struggling with so many different things. So that's another part of the mission. Like if it even can kind of help to motivate or help to channel feelings and emotions that just aren't able to be worked through sometimes, I mean, I have the ability to reason through it, but I still can't understand it.
Right.
I don't know why I'm out of the 5 of us, I ended up okay and they didn't, it's just so many conflicting, confusing emotions, and music is that. It's so unique and it's so special in that way that you can't even always put it to words, but it just helps you cope sometimes. It helps you feel connected to those people and to those feelings and to make sense of it. So
incredible. My condolences. I wanted to bring it up mainly because, again, your candor is wonderful, because music does help. It helps in so many ways, especially when I haven't lost many good friends in my life, and I just lost one of my best friends in my life in January, who was he and I listened to Leonard Skinner, the Allman Brothers, all that music back together. So whenever and we lost my guitarist in Second Wind in March of cancer, and that's something that I've never lost. And 15 years with a guy to my right in every gig, the way it feels when you lose a band member, but the music is the salve. And that is beautiful. And God bless both of them. And I'm sure that
Thank you.
looking down and on you and being so proud of what you're doing right now,
Thank you.
musically and with Project Hera. 2019, couple years back, again, launching something right before the pandemic.
Why not add another band? Because
well, you didn't know. I mean, you know,
No,
isn't that amazing? Like
I know, you're
Rose
so
Riot
right.
comes, it's original project stuff. You write beautiful songs. We're going to let people hear a couple of two of them, but that must have been another wonderful step in your Cathy DiToro musical evolution, to be able to do a band that was, is it your songs and other band members' songs, all your songs? How does it work?
No, it's all mine. Yeah.
Oh.
My idea for the band was to do an all-female lineup just because I had never been
Love
in a
it.
band with all girls. Yeah.
Yep.
And I was kind of sick of the boys and wanting to try something new. So
A woman sick of a man? What?
imagine that.
No.
So yeah. So I gathered a bunch of these girls together, and these were songs that I had written years ago that I produced with one of my bandmates in Party Like It's. And so they're all my songs, but I kind of just threw a band together because I wanted to perform them out live.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's kind of how that came about. We played a bunch of really cool shows right before, got to open for Letters to Cleo, which is like a really fun 90s band I used to love.
Fun.
And yeah, and just had some really great shows. And then March 8th, 2020, we played at Union Stage. It was a great show. And yeah.
You know,
the
March
rest
is
is
what I was
history.
born in March. And now whenever I look back on March, I think of March of 2020 and I'm like, damn, you know, what the heck? Well, that's still, what a wonderful thing. You shot.
But yeah, you know, I looked at it now and I'm like, we did some cool videos and we played some cool shows. And so
Yes.
I'm kind of in a transition right now with some members and that kind of thing. But I feel good about what I put out, you know, and the shows we did play.
Yeah. I mean, you know, whether or not this goes forward, and hopefully I would think in some ways you'd like it too. But bands work through bands. And this was wonderful to see because it's your stuff. And she's going to show a couple of snippets of two things you did. One of them, In My Dreams. Now, where were you in the street?
So we were quarantining at Floating Head Dad's house. Yeah. So we're in this retirement community where everyone goes to bed at 7 o'clock. I don't know if you noticed in the video, but the speed limit is 16 miles an hour.
Oh, I've seen that
which
some
is very
places.
bizarre.
I'm like, that's an interesting number.
It's in a retirement community in Florida.
Classic.
So Chris is driving a golf cart doing like a one shot with this. We did it all just one shot. And the neighbors are like looking out their window. Like it was like, it's so funny. Like, cause they don't see any of this ever happening.
Well,
and it's just me and Chris at like 9 o'clock. It's not even that late, but they're like, what's going on?
Well, you know, and the funny part is if I'm an elderly person looking out a window at you guys and you're shooting you, that's kind of, you know, normally you can tell you're singing into a camera and then you start to run away. And I imagine if they looked out the window,
right? I'm
that's all
running
they
from
saw,
a
they'd
golf
be like,
cart with a
"Stop
man
him!"
driving. Right.
But it is
Right.
wonderful. And
Totally.
it does show amidst the fact that it was, you know, again, quarantining or again, what you had to do, the time of it's a wonderful display of your talents again, Cathy. And I love it.
Thank you.
When did you write this?
I wrote that song 3 years ago.
Oh, cool.
Yep. I remember when I wrote it. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that's wonderful. And you know, the fact that you were able to take music that was in your canon and bring it out at this time. Here's a little bit of Cathy DiToro and RoseRiot with In My Dreams.
Dream that
Yeah, when I watched it, Kathy, the first time, I'm like, she's running somewhere. Where's she going? And now to know you were in that neighborhood takes on a whole new meaning.
Funny, right?
I'm gonna have to watch it. Here's another one that was directed by Dylan Lipinski.
Yeah, he's a friend, a son of a friend, family friends, and I ran into his parents randomly, and they're like, my son does videography, and I'm like, cool, like I need a video shot, and he really did a great job with it. We had a lot of fun shooting this.
Yeah, and it was written and produced by you, which
yes, and Eric Taft
and Derek
yes.
and Eric.
Derek and Eric, yes.
That's neat. But this is another wonderful moment for Cathy DiToro with RoseRiot and some magic pills.
Magic pills, you get the best of me. My magic pills, you are all I need. You keep me sane, you keep me safe, and I could never be without my magic pills with me. When the sun comes up, I take you in to ring the day. You are all I feel. And when the night comes round and I lay my head to sleep, my magic pills, you stay right next to me. Oh, magic pills, you see me through, setting me straight so I can do anything and everything I set my mind up to. 'Cause magic pills always know what to do. Magic pills, don't leave my side. You give me strength, you are my only guide. I'll never trade you in for some cheap knockoff remedy. My magic pills, you'll always be with me. My magic pills, you'll always be with me. My magic pills, you'll always be with me.
Magic pills. You know, it shows. I think this is a wonderful way to wrap up our wonderful journey, because it shows your wonderful talent and
Thank you.
You know, you sing fabulously. You're a member of one of the biggest tribute bands that this area has ever seen, which is still amazing. They called and said, join us. And you're like, what?
I know.
Oh, let me think about it. Okay.
Right?
But you know, the fact that you're also able to write music and perform like that, I hope you know, maybe that if RoseRiot doesn't come back, it's going to be Cathy DiToro doing something, because you're going to keep doing solo stuff. You're going to keep writing music, right? Do you have a what's coming up in your next, you know, once we get through this bullshit, when people can kind of, again,
Right.
the mind can open up again a little bit. What are the things Cathy DiToro wants to get done in the next year?
Serious. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of new songs I've written in quarantine and this past summer, and so I'm in the studio right now.
Great.
So there's going to be new music before the end of the year. Party Like It's is putting out an EP with a bunch of new songs we've been sitting on for a couple years that are really fun. So the best thing to do is just to follow me, because that's kind of where you get everything.
Yeah.
You know, and then so Fetch and the Legwarmers are just going to keep, you know, playing and hopefully having, you know, the nostalgia factor propel us into many years of success. So
Well, I'm looking so forward to following your road as you go forward.
Thanks, Steve.
Again, there are a lot of people I know who are fans of my, again, humble little, you know, older cover band that just like make a corral to you guys whenever you play, and they get dressed up. You know, that's part of it too, is that people get dressed up.
It
but,
is.
But the Legwarmers aren't the only thing you got going. You got a real great ride, and I Cathy, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be on Living on Music with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. This is really an honor, and
Well,
I'm very humbled by just you wanting to hear about my crazy journey. So
Oh, no, it was wonderful. And I wish you and Chris seems like a guy that's, you know, is another dynamic human being, especially
That's
as we've seen
true.
some of that. And I'm hoping the 930 Club is slowly reopening. They just had the Foo Fighters
Yeah.
show, right? And things like that.
Yep.
Or where are they right
they're
now?
reopened. Yeah, so they're officially reopened. You know,
Right
people
behind
have
me.
to be vaccinated, and you know,
Right.
DC still has a mask mandate, but I've been to a show there since, and it's you know, if you want to see the rock and roll, it's totally worth it. So it's going strong. I mean, the industry is just trying to get back on its feet
Yep.
in the most responsible but still supportive way, and it's still going to be a journey for right now. You know, I mean, things are changing on a daily basis, so we're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah,
So.
it's arguably the best, the most like legendary venue in this area. And
Oh, for sure.
I heard are they reconstructing a version of the old 930 Club nearby?
Yeah, right behind it. So where
Yeah, I
Satellite
read about
Room
that.
was, yeah. So like Dave Grohl made that announcement at the show or whatever that
Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna be, which is really cool because any sort of you know, establishment that's gonna put energy towards supporting live music or having bands is what we need right now.
Yeah,
You know, we always need it, especially after COVID with so many venues having to close and so many
Totally.
musicians just being down and out. So yeah, that's really exciting to know that there's something new and fresh coming to the city.
yeah. The 930 Club is very special. I wish Chris and his colleagues all the luck in the world to bring that amazing place back. I've had the Birchmere owner, Gary Olsey, and the main booker, Michael Jaworek, on the show. And what a show that was. It was fabulous. And they've been struggling too. You know, they came back in July of 2020, but
Yeah.
there had to be, you know, 20 people, and then they had to be 15 feet. Amazing. But I wish you the best of luck with
Thanks,
all of this
Steve.
music coming back and all of the things you're doing, because you are dynamic, and it's going to be wonderful to follow your ride going forward. Thanks again for coming on. And
Thank
Pico,
you.
Pico. Wow.
He's
Hey,
here. He's here.
thanks. Good. That's a perfect way to bid me a fun to do. Bye, Pico. Bye, Cathy.
Bye,
Thanks so much.
Steve.
Take care.
Bye.
Any energy in that lady? You see any? She is wow, a force to be reckoned with. Very sweet and very talented and fun. And boy, she and Chris must have the time of their lives. I'm sure it's been, as we talked about, it's been rough and challenging for both of them on one level, obviously together, and then on different levels with Cathy's musical life, and also Chris's amazing, you know, job at 930 Club. Anyway, Cathy, thank you for being on Living on Music. It was a wonderful ride. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be in close touch. Coming up on Living on Music real quick, this coming Monday, a week from today. Wow. It is Johnny Holiday, and we had the most incredible conversation about his music, his career. Not only an incredible play-by-play announcer for the last 43 years for the Maryland Terrapin basketball and football team, but also one of the great DJs of the 60s in the United States. If you didn't know that, it's pretty unbelievable. He worked in a variety of cities. Cleveland was one of his most notable jobs, WHK, also with Murray the K in New York City at 1010 Wins, and then out in San Francisco at KYN, had some amazing stories, including introducing the Beatles at their last show ever at Candlestick Park. So incredible, incredible career. Also as a musical theater performer. Yes, and nominated for a Helen Hayes Award for Me and My Girl. Johnny Holiday joins me in a week. You're not going to want to miss that. 2 weeks. It is one of the premier drummers that this area has ever had. He is revered by so many people, and that's why he plays almost every night, constantly out there playing the skins and just doing a phenomenal job. We've mentioned him several times with several guests on Living on Music. Holly Montgomery, I believe, was the last one who has Andy in her band all the time. But anyway, Andy Hamburger, a drummer extraordinaire, joins me to count us all in on Living on Music on the 18th. That's the debut of that episode. And on the 25th, the debut of the episode with Soul Queen, Kaz Gardner. Wow. Can't believe she's going to be on Living on Music. Met her at the Barns when we were both singing at the Elvis Costello tribute with Bandhouse gigs. And I've seen her clips of her playing and seen her play. She is something very special and has a wild musical palette out there. And we are going to touch every little color on that palette. Kaz Gardner joins me on the 25th on Living on Music. We've got a wild run, and we always do, and got some great people coming up soon. Real quick, the Zebra page on Facebook, Zebra Press, is a production. Living on Music is a production of the Zebra Press. So become a part of the Zebra Press. It's great. You'll learn a lot about this area, get a lot of great information and pings. So go to this page, hit sign up or go to the ZTV page as well, and you'll hear about the ZTV programming that is going constantly, virtually almost every weeknight, and more coming. So be part of ZTV. Living on Music is a production of Zebra Press. My editor and dear friend for 40 years and incredible musician is Todd Jones, and the publisher of Zebra Press is Mary Wadland. Next Monday, you do not want to miss this. The life of Johnny Holiday on Living on Music. It's going to be an incredible run. I can't wait for it. Until then, remember, everybody, stay safe, stay masked, get vaccinated, get the booster if you're available or your time has come full. I know I'm going soon. Anyway, stay safe. We'll get through this thing. Things are starting to open a little bit here, but we can't just open it wide, especially if we don't get vaccinated. Also, remember, amidst all that, putting that away at the side for a moment, remember what you can do to make a difference is be the good news in someone's life. Take care, everyone. Keep living on music.